Good morning, good afternoon, or evening, wherever you are. Welcome. Great to see you all. It's really nice. Normally I have like a small screen, and I'm now sitting in front of a big screen. It's way more fun. I see you so much better. So, yeah, welcome. Take a moment to just feel comfortable in your seat and just look around who is here and welcome everyone in your own heart. Good to see you, Esther. Haven't seen you for a while. Great. Mm-hmm. Hmm. So, yes, so here we are coming together in the company of truth. That's really what satsang means. Sat is truth, sang is being in the company. So, being in the company of truth. And I want to add love. So, being in the company of love and truth. Just truth is a little bit cold, and just love is a little bit too hot, and they balance each other. Can you hear me clearly? Yeah? Okay, good. Wonderful. Looks like still some people are coming in, arriving. Yeah, I'm in California. Actually, right now I'm in Nevada. And I was in California last week, just visiting and offering a one-day retreat and visiting with friends. And it's been just wonderful to be here. It's kind of the same feeling I had many years ago and still have when I go to Holland. Like, oh yeah, that's where I was born and raised, and it's wonderful to visit. And yeah, that's not where I live anymore. And it's funny to experience the same thing here in California. Like, oh yeah, it's home, and it's not where I live anymore. It's all past and still so close. And where I live right now is Tennessee, and that's home. So it's sweet how that changes, and seeing all the familiar faces and all the familiar places to visit. And so it's been very nourishing for me. And now in Nevada, I went to graduation. I haven't been to graduation in America, which is very different than in Holland when I graduated. When, here it was in a big hall. And in the morning, they had like 3,000 students together. And then in the big hall in the afternoon, there were 50. So it was a little smaller. But when I graduated from become a psychologist, it was in one room, and I could bring all my friends. So we like 20 or 25 friends were there, and then 4 or 5 professors, and then each professor says something about you, and you hear what they really think about you. So it's very intimate. When I graduated from the university in Amsterdam, and that was actually very, very touching to hear them speak. And actually, that reminds me that I just want to tell this story because it was just so touching. When I was writing my thesis, it was just torture. It was just torture. I had 2 supervisors, 2 women, one really close supervisor, and I was her first student, and that she supervised. And then another lady that was like kind of the head supervisor. So in those days, you handed it in, typed out, and then you get it back. And whenever I would get something back, it would look just totally red with corrections, just red. And it was just devastating. It's not very encouraging to get constantly feedback that everything is not good. And so yeah, that was really challenging. So I was really happy when that thesis was done. And then I had to write another thesis. It was two in those times. And I remember with that professor, when I had to hand in my first chapter writing, I was just so nervous because I had like, well, if he says it's really bad, then I'm really bad. I'm a real bad writer or whatever. And he was one of my favorite professors, but also he was a writer himself and a poet. And so I came in and I was nervous. And while I was walking in, he was like really talking always like that. He was saying, Marlies, what you wrote was just so beautiful and elegant and poetic. And I said, okay, can you say that again, please? I said, later I will explain why. And so he told me again, and then I explained to him, and that was very healing. But then at my graduation, what was really special, what happened is that supervisor that of whom I was the first student, she stood up to speak. And then in front of everyone, she apologized. It was really, it was so touching. She just said to me, Marlies, I'm just so sorry. I was so hard on you. I was harsh on you. I was hard on you. She said, I was just afraid that I was going to fail because you were my first student that I ever supervised. And that was just so deeply moving that she did that in front of everybody, that was so healing. And so I was just thinking about that, how beautiful that was, how she owned that and in front of everybody. So I got reminded of that. And I wanted to share that. And we can all do that in our lives when we realize, like, oh, oops, something that was not quite right here, and then owning up to it in a very open and tender and vulnerable way. That was everybody was touched when she spoke. So I wanted to start with that. I wanted to come out. So with that little story, let's take that with us inside and let's just be in silence for a moment. I'm just so in awe how I can see you all so clearly on the screen. It's so way fun. So yeah, so take a moment just to make yourself comfortable. And then closing your eyes or having your eyes open. And then first of all, feel your beautiful body sitting here. Feel your sits bones touching your seat. Feel your legs planted on the floor, or perhaps you sit cross-legged and feel the sides of your legs touching your seat. And feel the spine rising out of your sacrum, straight up, all the way to your neck and your head. And have a sense of your front body and your back body is open. Feel the muscles and the bones. Really acknowledging your body, the flesh, the form. That's the gift given this time around. Feel the breath, breathing your beautiful body. Notice how on the in-breath the body expands in all directions. And then on the out-breath it comes back to itself. And receiving that flowing in of breathing and breath and flowing out of air. And receiving your body being breathed and moved by the breath. Let your belly be soft. Kind of feeling, letting yourself experience the whole pelvic bowl to be soft around the hips and your genitals and your belly. Just feel the softness. Feel your shoulders be soft. Your face, the muscles in your face. And perhaps you can feel how your body is being filled by life, by the breath, but also by coming together here, our energy, very subtle vibration, the vibration of silence. And if you don't feel it, don't worry, it's here. Some people feel it easiest in the palms of their hands. Receiving yourself, all of you, your body, physical body, any state of mind you're in. Don't try to change it. Let that state do itself, be itself, however busy or quiet. Any visuals, let it be here. Any emotional state. Alive, perhaps grieving or afraid or happy. And you receive yourself exactly as you are here right now. There's nothing to fix. You are not broken. You cannot be broken. Receiving all of you as you are to the best of your abilities. And then receiving the body of silence, that underlying silent presence, which is the fabric of the whole universe. And see what it's like this morning or whatever time zone you're in to receive all of you. What is it like to receive all of you? Your body of mind, your body of emotion, your body of physicality, your body of silence, your space body. And allowing yourself to hold your body really still while you're receiving all of you, not having to change or fix or understand. This is it right now. Be still, allowing receiving to happen. It's kind of we're being touched by all of life. And perhaps that means for you, there's a deep silence. Perhaps it means for you there's some fear vibrating in your body. Let it vibrate. Perhaps there's a happiness vibrating in your body. Let it happen. Let it be experienced. Perhaps there's some aches and pains and discomfort in your body. Can you let discomfort be discomfort? And softening your belly, relaxing back. Perhaps there's a warmth in your belly and you feel a lot of goodness in your body. And you let that happen and be touched by. No matter what, can you relax, soften into your body of silence, receiving all of you. And I will be quiet for a few more minutes. Receiving a slow, deep breath in. And letting go. Receiving another slow, deep breath in. Oh, just letting your body move and do what it needs to do. You know, in most spiritual books, or a lot of spiritual books, or when we embark on the spiritual path, what's not really told to us is the challenges that we will have. You know, we hope to be this one bliss body or something. I don't know what your experience is, but it's not spoken a lot about just really being here in our direct experience, just being here, just being human. Yeah. And that sounds very, very simple, being here, right? Just being here, just be here. And for some reason, it's not so simple. And we tend to find that out while we're in meditation. Yeah, how hard it is to just be here and receive life as is, be in our experience as intimate as we can. And really, when we arrive here, then you have arrived. Then you are the embodied, the living expression of your nature. Yeah. You can feel when you look at nature or at a tree, or they're just here, right? There's no projections and stuff happening. For us in our humanity, there tends to be some stuff happening, as you probably have noticed. And then there's a longing not to have stuff, you know, to just be able to be here. And the journey from here to here, that's really what's upon us, to just be here. That means in our direct experience. So first, it's mostly in our humanity feeling, you know, the goodness or the not so goodness. But when we come in contact, when we awake to our nature, knowing that I'm not really the body, even though there is a body here, then we know we are this silent being. We start locating somewhere else. We start locating or learning to locate in and as our nature, that silent nature, that silent presence that's here. So while I'm speaking right now, let yourself rest in that silent nature, and with your eyes open or closed, just see if you can receive the words and the energy behind the words. The words are not even that important. They can be sometimes, but just there's a transmission happening. There's an energy exchange happening between all of us here. Yeah. So let yourself sit back. There's nothing to understand or get. Just be here. So your body is here. And then, so that's our ground. That's our home, is that silent being, that silent presence, that presence. So loving, so present, so here, so awake. Yeah. That's our ground. And out of that is our bodies and thoughts and feelings, sensations, etc. and the beauty of life and the challenges of life, which can be very beautiful too. And it can be just small challenges or big challenges. For instance, for me last night, I realized like, oh yeah, we're here in the boonies, and normally my phone works here and the computer works here, but nothing was working, and my extension for the Ethernet was broken down. So we had like, okay, so I need to use the computer of my friend. And well, so many little things happened. And while we were doing that, it's like, oh yeah, life gives these little challenges, these just little hiccups. And it's like, okay, the only thing is just being here and see how it unfolds. And then it unfolded and it all worked out. And so we have our challenges, and how much do we get into it and get really totally, or how much can we just stay here and take one step at a time? And that's really what life is about. It's one step at a time. And I've noticed in myself and in many people, the awakening process, it's a process. There's the spontaneous awakening that happens sooner or later. But then there's the process to full abiding. That's a process. But we all want to be here, right? We all want to be full abiding and feel like failures when we're somewhere here, like, this shit, still I can't abide, or still this not, or what's wrong with me, and blah, blah, blah. All these self-imprisoned ideas and that all the supposed tos. And with that, we bypass the process of life, of living life, of being in the direct experience of the beauty and the pain, of the challenge, the beauty of challenge, the pain of challenge. And that takes a lot of, awake awareness to be here in the midst of any challenge, and trust that it will unfold. And trust that even when you're supersonic awake and in abundance and whatever, there will be still challenges. It won't stop. It will not stop. At least that's my experience. And I've noticed that all around me. So it's important to attend to anything in our lives. If it's making a good meal for ourselves, the way we eat, or attending to our technology, and or paying the taxes if you want to pay taxes, etc., etc. It's attending. It's one step at a time. But we all want to be already 10 steps ahead. And that affects the nervous system. We're not here. We're just in activated nervous system land. So the journey from here to here is really bringing ourselves here, bringing ourselves in our experience. And when there's pain, there's just pain. We don't have to fix it, get rid of it. You can try. But it's very different when we start resting and over time more and more abiding, because all these challenges help us to more and more abide in the midst of life, to be here, to just be here. And when we're here, when we arrive here, there's such relief. And it doesn't mean you feel never, nervous anymore, or angry or sad or anything. It will still happen. But underneath is always steady presence. It's always here. It's what you are. So what you are, you can never be wrong. You can never be a failure. It's impossible. You can only be failures between our ears. When we believe I'm a failure, then you are a failure. Then you have that experience. Yeah. So that journey from here to here, really, as I see it, is like the body, our flesh body, falling into the light of silence. That's the process. That's the process that's happening. So more and more our physicality, our emotionality, our minds, everything starts falling into being, into the being of light. And in that process, for that letting go to happen, that takes time, that takes courage, that takes trust. And it's not always easy. It's just not always easy, and still it can be done. And the way we can practice that is by sitting together, coming together, sitting alone at home, and really listening. What needs my awake awareness? What needs my attention right now that I don't want to bring my attention? What is it that basically I don't want to feel, I don't want to know, I don't want to attend to? That's what you need to attend to. Yeah. It can be simple. The dishes. It's okay to leave the dishes, if you want to. You can leave it for a day or 2 or 3, but to do that for a month it's not very healthy. It's not good for your system. Yeah. Cleaning up your house. When we clean up our outer house, our inner house feels clean and open and refreshed. Do you have that experience too? When it's kind of messy and, we can be messy in our minds and or upset about something, then it's all reflected in our surroundings. Yeah. So the beauty of spirituality, in my experience, is daring to experience the process, the unfolding, the ever unfolding, no matter how much you're abiding in awake awareness or not. There is this forever process unfolding. Yeah. There's spring, there's summer, there's autumn, there's winter, and then again there's spring. The metabolism of our body, or how the fluids in our body, it's going up and down. It's part of it. Yeah, it's ever flowing, ever changing. So there's this combination of life is very still, always here, always presence, and forever moving, forever moving. When I'm at home and I go every day to my creek, and you will experience it too in nature, it's like the creek is ever flowing, and there are the boulders, and the flow will always find its way. And then there's something that's always here, that doesn't change, that doesn't move, just done here, very still, in the midst of all this aliveness of nature. And this aliveness is that expression of that steady being. And that's in our humanity too. There's this steady being. Can you feel that right now? There's this steady being. Something is steady. Something is already still, without you really needing to do anything. That's you. And then there's the movement, the blood is flowing. There's some movement in mind. There's some movement in your body. There's movement. And there's this underlying current. It's very still. That's expressed in life herself. So it's the simultaneity of all that's happening. And in our minds, we want to make compartments. Is that correct English? Make little parts. Yeah, this. So we have a sense of control, which makes sense. Sometimes it's handy to do things like that, to organize. But we cannot compartmentalize, however you say that word, life. You cannot. Silence, you cannot. The more you rest in and as silence, the more it starts flowing. It starts coming to life in you. And it starts touching anything that's not free. And that's the beauty of life. Because sometimes you can have an intention like, from now on, whatever it is, from the next 30 days, I'm going to meditate every day for half an hour. And then you notice all these things happening and reasons why you are not going to do it. Those are all those forces against that just don't want you to do it. And it takes everything to stay with that steady presence and with that commitment, like, that's what I'm going to do. That's what I'm going to do. And then finally you're actually doing it every day, half an hour. And then you feel more upset than ever before. Everything. That's part of the cleanse that's happening. Because when we make commitments like that, make choices like that, that's what I want to do. I want to rest as that silence. And yes, we have a taste, and then things come up. Those things come up is not because you're a failure. It's not because you're wrong or bad or anything. It's because you're actually doing it right. Because anything that's in the way of you resting in and as silence has to come up. It has to be seen by that light of awareness so that it can melt back in once and for all and be free. Because we want to be free. You want to be free. But this mindfuck wants to be free too. Yeah. Or this whatever is happening in your body wants to be free too. And the more we can relax back, soften back in the midst of any form of life that's coming to life, that's on the screen, we are more relaxed. We come more at peace. We rest more as ourselves. And then our bodies or our minds or our emotional body has also a bigger chance to relax as itself. So when there is a pain in your body or a pleasure in your body, when there's immense pleasure, when there's orgasmic flow happening, we want to tend to make it more. No, relax back in your nature. Then this orgasmic energy or this bliss energy, whatever it is, can more and more be itself, can take you. And it's the same when there's pain. When there's pain, we contract. Also, when there's pleasure, we contract because we're not used to, because we want to do something with it. We need to do something with it. You don't have to do anything with pleasure. You don't have to do anything with pain. Can you let it be here, whatever it is, pleasure or pain, not having a goal where the pleasure needs to go and where the pain needs to go. But take a breath, soften back, and let it do its thing. It's life that's unfolding. To me, that's one of the most important things on the path or in life, which is the path. Now we're making a distinction between something that's spiritual or not spiritual, but soften back. So while I'm speaking right now, soften back the breath, soften your belly. There's nothing to understand. Just soften. No matter how much tension or pleasure or understanding or not. Relax, softening. Just be here. Just be here. Feel the silence, this vibration of silence. That's the expression of silence. Peace is the expression of silence. Light and brightness is the expression of silence. And then go even deeper back. And going almost like leaning back in your chair, leaning back into the back body, into the back of your body. Just leaning back. Be here. Nothing to change. It's almost falling back into the abyss of being. Mind can be busy, it's not a problem. It's just busy mind. Soften back. Feel your belly soften. Perhaps let your hands rest on your belly. Feel the warm, arriving here is arriving in our bodies, letting our bodies relax and fall into our body of presence. Just here. Perhaps when you're just here, you notice it's easier to hear sounds, to receive the birds if they're singing, or the sound of your breath. Or when you rest back, you can connect more easily with that inner life. Listen, silence, presence. Here. No matter how much discomfort there is, itching, soften back. All is well. All is well. You're always taken care of. You're so loved. Presence that you're resting back in. It's pure love, is love, loving you. Here, now. Allowing your body being to be your body being. So feel that taste. So just imagine, let's say you do your taxes. Yeah, that a lot of people have a lot of hiccups about. What if you would relax back and do your taxes from there, step by step? You make a meal when you're really hungry. You want to make a meal really fast, like stuff it in your mouth. Relax back. When you're with a friend and you feel agitated, instead of following the agitation out, relax back. Agitation. Let agitation be agitated. Safe to be here. Silence is your safe place, is your home. And in life, turtle on, go on. One step, next step, next step. So, okay, do you get the sense what I'm endeavoring to show you? Because this is an everyday, every moment practice or play that you can play with. Your life will change instead of that, relaxing back. And then from this relaxation, this peace, the movement will come. You have to move. You know, we're here to move. We're movers, shakers. We have to. It's natural. It's very different when it comes from your nature. When you're aligned with your nature, Because then you can find out what's not aligned, what wants to come to alignment, and let it come in the right place, and then it comes forward. I was just, when I was that yesterday? No, the day before yesterday, when I went to this graduation thing, and it was really, really sweet. And there were a lot of things I needed to do that day, and very often I just, it's like, oh yeah, I want to do this, and then I kind of, okay, I just hand it over. Life, I know life will take care of it. I don't have to think too much about it. And then the day flows, and then everything falls in place. Everything falls in place. The more we take our hands off, everything can more easily fall in place. When we start to try to control too much, it cannot really flow as much as you would like. Yeah. And then pieces fall in the right place. And sometimes you notice you need to take a big step forward. Yeah. And that's part of life too. So wherever we rest, it's not about resting so much there that it gets a little stale. Then it's like, it's dying a little bit. Yeah. And just only action, action, action. It doesn't work either. It's kind of dying. It's this ever flowing, ever flowing. I guess that's what I wanted to share today. It's very practical. It's a practical expression of embodiment. That's what embodiment is attending to what needs attention. It's moving to what needs to move. Yeah. And some of us are more into the action part, some of us are more into the silent part. But truly, what I've noticed, and I was visiting with Nadia yesterday, and we were kind of chatting, and we all had when you're a deep meditator, you just need a lot of time for yourself. You need time you become kind of a nun or a monk in some sense or some way, yeah, because you need that space. It's natural. It's part of that journey, yeah. And naturally, less distraction comes in. It's just not so interesting. And naturally, it becomes more and more clear what's the most important. And that's always a good question to ask ourselves. What's the most important really right now? Watching 10 more YouTubes, or just being here and attend to, I don't know, making a good meal for yourself. Yeah. It's a really beautiful process, the spiritual process, but really to live this life to the fullest. And not sleep this life to the fullest, but really live this life to the full. And we all have times when we're a little sleepy. And we all have times when we're a little bit more awake. And the deeper we rest as our nature, the more alive it can come and will come. Okay, I think I'm going to stop here. So I want to open it up for questions or sharing if you want to share. I just love to hear how you're doing and what's going on in your life. Sonia.
Yes.
Hi.
Glad to hear you. My question is about, I don't find the ground. I get lost in space and just float around.
Yes. Let me just put you here on the big screen so I can see you better. Yeah. Yes. So you're just floating around. So right now you're floating around?
Well, now I'm talking to you, so I'm kind of in front of my body. But
yes.
I started, it was the first time I was listening to Adya, and I just started falling. And I'm either falling into nothingness or I'm kind of living my life. But I'm never finding any ground.
Yes. So that's okay. in that way because you're very present, right? At some point, there is no ground as the sense of there is a bottom, because there is no bottom. There is no bottom in that way as a ground. The ground is in a way everywhere, which is silent, which is very spacious and open. Yeah. So you don't have so much reference points as you used to have. Yeah. So that's fine. That's totally fine. Because when we're speaking here, you're here. You're not kind of like, oh, where's Sonia? You know, you're right here, right? I don't have to, you're not like a space cadet somewhere, hanging out somewhere else. So your ground is here. And it's popping out of your eyes. It's here. It's not some floor that is the ground.
I was hoping one day I would reach a floor, but if you tell me there's no floor to find, I'm very
There's no
reassured.
floor. There's no floor. It's a great question, really. There's no floor in the sense between our ears as we see a floor. No, it's a ground that's just holding all of us. It's the context in which all of life happens. That's the ground. That's silence. It's everywhere.
So it's more a form of space or of quality of existence than landing somewhere.
Yeah, yeah. So in a way, you land in space. You
Okay.
are space. Yeah, you are spacious silence. You are that. That's your ground. Yeah, that's the context. So it's not how you would expect the word ground to be used. So you know your space. You know there's nowhere to land, really.
That
Yeah.
clarifies a lot, because I've been bumping around in this emptiness and I'm saying, when am I going to land? When am I going to land? I must be doing
You're not
this
going to
wrong.
land. Yeah. You're not doing anything wrong. This is the landing. It is the landing, just this, that there's no landing place. Yeah. It touches something inside, huh?
Yeah, it's as if it's a bit like your psychological professor, as if somebody is saying, you know, you did nothing wrong, there's nothing scribbled in the paper.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with you and you did nothing wrong. If anything, you did it right. Yeah, you're just hanging in space. You're just hanging somewhere in midair. And that will always be like that. And what can be helpful is to feel your sits bones in the chair, you know. That's why I mentioned that. That's why I mentioned the flesh. You know, that's helpful. And you're hanging in midair.
But I can't be in my body and in space at the same time. For me, I'm kind of here, but if I feel my hand, it's as if it was somebody else's hand.
Yes, yes. So touch your hand. Like touch your hand like that. What do you notice? Can you feel the warmth in your hands?
Yeah, I can feel contact and pressure.
Yeah, yeah. So just feel that. So it's just your body is in a way not your body. It's a sense organ. So it's sensing. So it's sensing warmth, right? It's sensing flesh. And it is space itself. Our bodies are space itself. And still, it's also flesh.
Yeah. But so I've been looking for the body like I've been looking for the ground.
Yes, exactly. So when you rest your attention in your belly, okay, you might just close your eyes for a moment. So when you rest your attention in your belly, and everybody can do that. So you feel your belly rising and falling because of the breath, right? And you can feel there's spaciousness in your belly. There's space. So space is the same as silence. And then perhaps you can feel the intestines or some fleshiness. Yeah. That's it. That's just it. It's just you come as close as you can, resting your attention in your belly. Yeah. And then the more you rest your attention in your belly, which is space in a way, the more your body will be here, and the more simultaneously you're also space. It's both. Yeah. Because our bodies are really energy. So it's not so much like I'm in my body, like that. It can be helpful, you could play with doing workout and that kind of stuff that can help. And I hear that you say this floating, but I don't feel, I hear what you're saying, and perhaps I'm completely denying what you're saying. I feel you're very here. So that space, it's helpful then to just rest your attention in your belly or rest your attention in your heart. So allowing your awareness to rest in your body, then you have more sense of here-ness instead of allowing it just only to have this velvety space that goes to the eternal of spaciousness. Yeah.
But you're
Is
saying
that
something
helpful?
very important. Yes, because
Yeah.
I'd never really understood that, if I'm space and everything is space, my body is space, and I was kind of looking
Yes.
for a block.
Yes.
But my body is as empty as all the rest. And at the same
Exactly.
time, I've got a hand and I move it and I cut my carrots.
Yeah.
I drive my car, but I was looking, just like I was looking for the ground, I was looking for a body and I was looking for content in the body. And I was saying, but there's nothing in there. And yet I have a body and I am a body. But yes, if my body is space and I've got a skin and I'm not from denying my incarnation, then it's much easier. I'm just a block of space walking around.
Yes, you're a spacewalker. Just like
In
that.
space
You're
and
just
have space.
Yeah. Yes. Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. These are really great questions because then you can see the word ground seems so obvious, right? The ground, the floor, which in a way it is, but it isn't. Yeah. And that's the thing in spirituality. You can point to things, but you cannot really put it in words. So it's a pointing. But just know that awareness is where you let it rest, that's what you get. Yeah. And you have very deep presence. It's here. Yeah. Perhaps it's helpful to hear that I feel the only way I can express it, and I have expressed this before, I feel I'm just like two eyeballs that has 360 degrees radius. That's all there is, even though I'm very embodied. Embodied means, when you're hungry, you eat. When you're thirsty, you drink. That's embodiment. You're here. You attend to the direct experience. And there's no extra thought on top of it, like, I don't want to eat, or I do want to eat, or da 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 da. No, it's just that. That's the space body moving.
I'm talking about the eyeballs. I mean, I'm a medical doctor and homeopath, and for the last 3 years, I've been working with a mask. And what people can feel from just listening with the eyes.
Yeah.
Miracles happened, and there was only that left.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Thank you.
And that's also what more and more will happen. So the more you enter the space body, more and more you enter the body of sensuality, the senses, then yeah, we see with our eyes, but then you can feel with your eyes, or you can taste with your ears. You know, it's like everything comes together. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Great question. Christopher?
Hello, Marlies.
Hi, Christopher.
I'm gearing up to teach my first mindfulness retreat today, and
All right.
yeah, and all week the pushback from taking a step forward has, like, from my own karma, has been just like opened up by my tailbone. It's just been like gushing life force out of the body. My body hasn't like been able to like do anything. It's so intense that I've just been like really meditating on it. It hasn't really moved. I'm seeing these like karmas that have like just been beaten to death by people. They're just so scared of people, like burned alive, beaten to death, like the worst of the worst. And I really understand why they're scared, but it's hard to like move the whole it's hard to move the whole organism forward with come out of
So
stagnant.
there's a lot of fear. There's a
A
lot of fear.
lot of fear.
Yeah. So how do you recognize the fear right now?
It's in the lower belly, and the body just shakes. And
Yeah. Yeah. So see what it's like to relax back a little bit. Just soften your belly and soften your shoulders. Let your hands rest on your lap. And just feel the breath breathing your body. So what happens to the fear in your belly? What's the sensation in your belly that tells you there's fear?
I think I might be in my throat. It's really scared. It really doesn't want to be seen. It's mostly I just get upset that it's leaking all my life force out. And I try to stop that, and it just doesn't go anywhere.
So there's a lot of work happening, huh?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, so there's a very young part there that's just very scared.
Yeah. I'm like so scared of people.
Yeah. So let's be that young part, you know. So you're really scared. You're scared of people. I'm speaking directly to that part. You've been scared for a long time, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. When do you remember when you look back to the life of this man and young man and then this little boy? When did he get scared?
Oh man, like always.
Always. Yeah. Yeah. And it's also lonely, huh?
Yeah, there's so much isolation being that afraid of people.
Yeah. Yeah. So what do you do when you're so scared?
I think the previous thing was isolate.
Yeah.
Just feel it.
Yeah. And now you're bringing it in contact, right? So right now you're not alone. Can you feel how something changes a little bit, that gets a little softer?
It's like everything's okay.
Well, everything is okay, absolutely. And there's something really scared inside. It wants love, really. It wants your love, your attention. Because what starts happening, you can see when it happens, you get more activated. Oh, I need to do work on this and work on that, right? To not have to feel that or to manage it, that's part of the survival. But what that part needs is really your loving attention, your presence. Yeah. Like what we're doing right now is just saying hello to it. Say, hey, I'm here with you. We're here with you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Because that's what you over time can learn. And then when you feel good, Christopher, also connect with that part.
Okay.
Because then you can play with it like, hey, I'm here. We're here together. And you can say in the big scheme, it's all nonsense, they're not true and whatever. But in our humanity, we have those experiences. So attend to it. Something wants truly your love and attention that nobody could give to you when you were little. Yeah. So it's kind of reparenting. It's just say hi to that part. Just say hi. I'm so happy you're here and that we're here together. I'm trying to figure this out here. So that when it's scared, it's easier to say, like, hey, take my hand. I'm here. I'm scared too, but let's be scared together. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that there is some connection made, because part of the challenge is that there was a total disconnection. There was just nobody there. So you need to give yourself that missing experience in your humanity, like, hey, I'm here. Yeah, and not working on it to get hanging out into space and into, surpass it all. No, this part needs your love and attention so that it can relax. Yeah. So again, play with it. Also, when you feel good and that part is not scared.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Great. Yeah. Anybody else? There's something important about, because often we make a split between spirituality, life, our humanity, and psychology, and God knows all. There are parts in us that want our love and attention. It's a relationship. We want to have love and attention when we're with someone, but also when we're with ourselves. Yeah, it needs that so that it can relax and come home. Okay. Anybody else that wants to share or has a question? Oh, yeah. Go for it. Unmute yourself, Rachel.
Hi. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Let me just see whether I can get you on the screen. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You're in front of me. Hi, Rachel.
Hi.
Oh. Mm. Mm. Just stay with that. Just let yourself take that in. Mm. It's tender, huh? Yeah. Naturally moving, huh? Yeah.
I've got my 82-year-old mum with me right now because we just had some time away together. She's been very ill. She has schizophrenia, and we got back and she wasn't able to go and be back in her home. So I brought her. She's staying with me, which is very practically difficult, just because. Anyway,
Yeah.
but it's. I'm able to be with it, but I just feel like I just want to voice it somewhere, really, that it's just seeing her.
Be good. Just be good, Rachel.
Trapped in such suffering. It's so painful to witness. And the pull to want to save her is so strong.
Cuts through every nerve, huh? That pain. It's just, yeah.
No, that's. I just wanted to make it all right for her.
Yeah. Of course you want to. Of course.
It's such a life unlived. It's been such a tragic life. In the sense that there's been so much suffering because of her condition. So, and she's such a spirit. She's such a spirit. It's like you can see, you can feel what it feels like to me. Because I had a big awakening myself, and I experienced her schizophrenia. I don't know it's her schizophrenia, but I experienced what I understand schizophrenia to be, but it kind of all cleansed out of me. So I have experienced, I mean, I don't know how it exactly is for her because I'm not her, but I had an experience of that. So I kind of have a bit of an insight, and I have an insight into that. And it's like I don't want to let her go until she's had the life that's in her. It's the only way I can put it. Does that make any sense?
It makes total sense. And when you're with her, can you connect with her life to life? Like take her hand and look in her eyes, and that's really possible with her. Yeah. And that you can mention to her, like, hey mom, can you feel this life here? Can you feel we're alive? Because sometimes what can be helpful, I don't know her state, how she is and so, but when she can make contact with that, with you, and you see her as life. Because what we do when somebody has schizophrenia or anything, we see them more. I can see how you see her, that she is this incredible spirit.
Yeah, absolutely.
And yeah. And of course, one of the symptoms is she has schizophrenia, but that's not who she is. And I know you know that. Yeah. So as much as you can, connect with that life in her and see her as that pure life. Because that will transmit something naturally from you to you. You're not busy changing her. You're just connecting your life with her life. And what can be very powerful is to take her hand and say, Mom, can you feel that life here? Do you hear the birds sing right now? Bring her attention away from the schizophrenia as much as possible. Because it's just a condition. And I know I can say this all easy, okay?
No,
but
I get it.
Yeah,
get it.
Really, it's really important. Same as when somebody has cancer, then everybody's busy with all the cancer and forget everything else, all the parts that are healthy. She's healthy. She's healthy. She has a very strong spirit. That's what you need to align with. That's what you need to address. Yeah. And of course, it's devastating to see it. It's your mom. It's in you. I'm glad it just got out of you. Yeah. And now the way you can play with this is just be that spirit yourself that she has given to you too. She has given that spirit of life to you. It's in her. Connect with her with that. Make that, if that feels right for you and truthful, that's what you connect with. Nothing else. Yeah. Then there's a bigger chance for her to step out of that conglomerate of schizophrenia. Yeah. Because you can wake up out of that. It's possible.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I feel like I really want to speak to this. I really want to speak about schizophrenia in the world at some point when it's really processed through me, because I feel like this needs to be spoken to in a completely different way. Because when it started coming, that really started in me, when the awakening really hit. I mean, it'd been building for a few years, but then when it really started to come in, they were trying to medicate me, labeling me as psychotic, depressive, all of that, really massive, big drugs trying to put in me. Acupuncture didn't work, and all kinds of things. but I felt the energy moving through all my chakras. I mean, I was a yoga teacher, all that stuff. So I kind of knew what was going on. But today, she sat and she said, and I got up this morning, she just said, and she looked as miserable as hell and really like terrified. She just, I've just got this excitement. And I just thought, oh my God, I know exactly what she's talking about. She said, I can't describe it any other way. She said, down here, there's this excitement. And I said, there's like this excitement. And I said, does it go up and down like this? And she said, yes. And I said, yes, I really understand. I really understand, Mum. You know, when I had my breakdown, Mum, I said, this is what I experienced too.
Yeah.
You're not, you know, and so I feel, I mean, I don't know if this is the case for everybody, I couldn't, but you know, from my own experience and what I'm seeing with my mum now, it feels like this is just the Kundalini energy actually getting interrupted. It's like it can't flow. I mean, I felt it working through every single chakra in me. I felt it processed through every single, I felt it move up through the whole of my body until it came out the top.
Yeah.
And now she expressed it. And this is, so I thought to myself, she's had an interruption of awakening.
Yes.
And still in that interruption, it's not coming through.
Yeah. Well, it will come through the more you see her as spirit. So any kind of thought that it will not happen, throw it out. Yeah. Just it will come through. That's what you need to hold, that intention. And then also find ways, and don't do this because I propose this, only when it feels right. Check all the medications, because a lot of medications are overdosed and are not allowed to be used longer than a certain amount of time. So
she actually isn't on any medication for schizophrenia.
Great. Okay, that's fantastic.
She refused it all.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So play with this, trust this. It's not a coincidence she's with you and cannot go home.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And don't live it for her. Let her live it. Don't melt with her, so to speak. Yeah. Still be Rachel. Yeah. Be yourself, like the daughter of your mom. And trust that something is wanting to flow. Yeah. And ask for help, you know, ask for help in your own heart. I need help with this. And Mom needs help with this. The spirit will always help. Yeah. What an opportunity. It's really beautiful. Yeah.
My screen has just gone. I don't know if you can still hear me.
I
think my
I can hear you. Yeah, I can hear you. And I cannot see you anymore. And that's fine. Oh, perhaps she's just totally gone now. Okay. Well, she got the gist of it. Oh, there you are. Yeah, I see you again, Rachel. So, okay. So, I think what Rachel brought forward is really important, you know, in small ways or big ways. We bring our attention, where we bring our attention, that's what we get. Where we bring our attention, that's what grows. So when you see somebody as sick, then you will see them as sick. When you see them as beauty, you will know their beauty. Yeah, with yourself too. Yeah. And it's not about being in denial what the person is going through, but it's deeply knowing who they really are and align with that. Because spirit, the beauty of being, that's what heals. Silence heals. Presence heals. A pill can help or whatever. But that when we meet from spirit to spirit, from presence to presence, there's, you could say, a third energy, then start living this life. That starts to take care of everything. So we can do that with ourselves, as I say, resting back as your nature. But also when you're with somebody that feels unhappy or has a certain condition, if it's a physical condition or emotional, doesn't matter. Yeah. Rest back as your nature, then there's a bigger chance you connect your nature with their nature. Yeah. And something can shift that comes out of left field and not because you think it into existence. Well, oh, what should I do? And I'm not saying never do that. I'm just saying rest back, no matter with whom you are and where you are. Yeah. I hope you get this sense. So what I mentioned too, when somebody, for instance, has cancer, and then we see them as cancer walking, they're way more than that. Yeah. They're present, they're beautiful. And then see what wants to happen. It's different. It's really different. And there you are again, Rachel. Good. Okay, I think it's time. This went really fast. So thank you all so much for being here. And play with it. Play with this sense of resting back, resting back, resting back, resting back, and resting back. So thank you all so much, and just take good care and enjoy yourself. Thank you.